episode of Live by Design, a program where I hope you will find content that is informative, insightful, and inspiring. My name is Muadi. I'm a life strategist and a motivational speaker, and I am your host. I'm really excited to be here with you today. It's been a while since we've been together, and I know I say that all the time, but I'm sorry, y'all. I've been out living my life and having a pretty good time in the process and learning a lot of lessons that I'm happy to come back and share with you. This summer, I spent some time in New York City taking master classes from Camille Brown, an emerging choreographer who's doing some really phenomenal work around the country. I spent some time in Boston choreographing a new piece that is going to be premiered with OrgiNation Cultural Arts Center this October. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later. And I just got back Saturday from spending 7 days in Accra, Ghana. Every year, OrgiNation hosts what's called a Youth Empowerment Through the Arts Tour, and we take young people, and I say we because I am part of OrgiNation, we take young people outside of the country and around the country to give them an opportunity to learn, serve, and teach. They do community service work, they teach master classes, they teach workshops, and they perform for young people, for adults of all ages, and it's a really good opportunity for them to get out of their comfort zones and get out of their normalcy, their normal space, and sort of see how the rest of the world lives. And so we've been to South Africa. They went to Senegal. I was not on that trip. We've been to London. We've been to New Orleans. And this year we went to Accra, Ghana. And I have to say it was one of the most transformative experiences of my life. And as a matter of fact, this show and the next couple of shows are going to be dedicated to my sharing with you lessons that I learned while I was in Accra. I did bring my video camera with me there, and I did post a few video blogs. I created some video blogs, I should say. I was not able to post them because we didn't have access to the internet, at least not regular access. So what I thought I would do is I would share them with you and incorporate those lessons into this show. So for the next 3 episodes, you're going to hear lessons that I learned while I was in Ghana. But before we get to that, I have a few announcements. On Friday, September 28th, I will be facilitating a discussion called Mind Your Business and Other Secrets to Creating the Life relationships that you want. Just like many of you, I've struggled over the years to find real peace, real happiness and balance in all of my relationships, whether they be my romantic relationships, friendships, and professional relationships. You all know by now, right? I'm a recovering drama queen. And drama queen-like behavior is not conducive to having peace in your relationship. So as I have begun to evolve past that behavior and adopt new ways of thinking and adopt new ways of being, I have found that it's brought more peace into my relationships, and they're much more satisfying than they've ever been. And again, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about my relationships with my family, with my coworkers, with my peers. It's really within us to have a lot more tranquility and a lot less drama. Although some of us I know are addicted to drama. We're going to talk about that later too. But this conversation that we're going to have is going to give you an opportunity to hear some really practical things that you can do to excuse drama from your relationships and really spend more time in joy and less time in the nonsense and foolishness that sometimes characterizes those relationships that are closest to us. Now, I'm still a work in progress. I don't have all the answers. I most certainly do not. And I still slip from time to time. But my slips are further apart than they used to be, and they're less dramatic than they used to be. I'm still working on it, but as I work and as I learn, I want to share with you. So that's on September 28th. Saturday, September 29th, I'm having a reunion breakfast for all the women who attended my half-day retreat back in April in Boston, the Women's Worth half-day retreat. The location is not going to be announced because I don't want a whole bunch of folks to showing up out of the woodwork thinking that they are invited when you're not. You needed to have participated in the half-day retreat on April 21st in Boston to be eligible to come and share this space with us. We are going to be connecting. I have been connecting with a lot of the women who attended over the past several months, but as a group, we haven't been together again. So it's an opportunity for us to come together, check in on one another, share progress, share encouragement, and just sort of set a tone for the remainder of the year. So that is on Saturday the 29th. On Friday, October 5th and Saturday, October 6th, My new piece, Orchestrated Chaos, is going to premiere at OrgiNation's Twist and Shout benefit. I'm really excited about this piece. It examines this whole notion about universal intelligence and how there is a spirit that sort of guides us in the midst of what looks like or may look like a chaotic life. It's a challenge for me. I actually did an interview for OrgiNation's promo pieces about my piece, which I'm going to share with you later, but I'm really excited about it. I pushed myself and I pushed the dancers, and I'm really pleased with what we've come up with so far. Also on that program, you will have an opportunity to see choreography by the organization's founder, Shalombe Dibinga, an emerging choreographer, Giovanni Soto, and performances by Omekongo Dibinga, who's now, at this moment, headed to North Carolina to cover the Democratic National Convention for CNN. You will also see a performance by Levi Marsman, who is a former dancer with Ailey 2, the second company of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and is an emerging choreographer in his own right. And OrgiNation will be honoring Terrence Howard. You've seen him in Red Tails, in Hustle and Flow, and Crash. You may not know this, but he's a musician. He's also a philanthropist, and he will be there. So, if you want an opportunity to meet Terrence Howard and to see some wonderful dance performances while supporting a wonderful organization, come out to Twist and Shout. Give us a call at 617-541-1875, or you can inbox me at info@muadidibingaunlimited.com to get more information about that. If you want to keep up with me and what I'm doing in 2013, send me an email and ask me to put you on my mailing list. You can also follow me at Twitter at mdibinga, and you can find me on Facebook. I'm going to be doing a lot of really exciting things in 2013. I'm going to be doing a lot more touring, coming to some new cities, revisiting some old cities. I don't want to miss you. If we haven't had an opportunity to share space together, I want to make sure that we get a chance to do that in the upcoming year. So come on, follow me. I'll follow you back. We are going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we are going to talk about my trip to Ghana, and I'm going to introduce the first of several video blogs that I took, or that I made rather, while I was in country. So don't go away. Give me about, 30 seconds of your time, and then come back, okay? See you soon. Bye. Welcome back to Live by Design. I'm your host, Muadi Dibinga. As I said at the top of this program, I'm going to be dedicating the next few episodes to sharing with you some of the lessons that I learned during my trip to Ghana. I will say that this is my second time being in Africa as an adult. In 2007, OrgiNation, we traveled to South Africa for our first tour, and it was a mind-blowing experience. However, this trip was different for me because I would say in the last 4 or 5 years, or at least in the time since we went to South Africa, I've been doing a lot of work, a lot of the work that we talk about in this program on my consciousness and on my spirituality, and really working to evolve past some of the drama queen behavior that we talked about earlier and that you hear me talk about all the time. So I think that I was more open, more receptive, and really prepared to absorb everything that Ghana had to offer. And as a result of that, I was moved beyond words by almost every experience, pretty much. So much so that I actually even didn't want to come back. I could have done a few more days, if not another week or two, just because the combination of being on the continent and being in that space where I was learning so much about the Ghanaian culture and reconnecting with that African part of myself, my African history, but also being away from email and being away from Facebook and being away from Twitter and really being disconnected from all of the distractions, right, that sometimes bombard our senses and keep us from really hearing ourselves, from hearing our tuition, from hearing our inner voice. So it was a really wonderful experience for me. This first video captures some of the work, captures my thoughts, I should say, about some of the work that we did in Ghana after the first day, and a conversation that I had with a gentleman who we now refer to as Bishop James. He was our host, our guide for the 7 days, and I learned a lot from him. So if this is just raw footage of me sitting in my hotel room, sharing some thoughts with you. My hair is not done. I don't have on any makeup. I didn't have the ability to spruce up my environment. But I did think it was important for me to capture those moments as they were going through my mind. So here it is. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the other side. Let's go to the tape. Good morning and greetings from Accra, Ghana. I am really excited that this is the first of what I hope to be several video diary entries to help document my first trip to Ghana. It's not my first trip to Africa. My family's from the Congo. I haven't been there in more years than I can count, but I've been to South Africa. And this is my second trip as an adult to the continent, and it's been very exciting. I thought it would be interesting to share, as the days go by, lessons that I've learned that are consistent with what we talk about here at Live by Design. And so I'm going to start with this whole idea about the universality, the common dream and vision that we all share for our life. Yesterday was Sunday, and we had an opportunity to go hear James preach. He's a local minister who has 9 churches, runs an orphanage, and runs a school here in Accra, and has been serving as our tour guide. And the message of the morning was about productivity and your purpose. And the theme of his the word that day was centered around this idea that you have the raw materials inside of you to have the harvest that you want. And I have to say that his sermon almost brought me to tears, not just because the content really spoke to me, but I was looking around the congregation. It's a church he's building from the ground. They're a year into it. Doesn't have walls, doesn't have, part of the roof is missing. As a matter of fact, we're going to go there later today and paint. Yet here, in the midst of a poor section of Accra, because Accra does have wealth, but we were in a poor section, he is preaching to his congregation about purpose, about productivity, about how you have everything you need inside of you at this moment to create the life that you want. There were children in the church who didn't have shoes, whose clothes were a little tattered and torn. A lot of them were orphans that he serves in his program, and yet the message resonated with them. And to see that here in Africa, in the continent of my family's birth, was a really powerful moment for me, because it reminded me that despite the circumstances of our situation, and despite what it might look like externally, we can still tap into the universal truth that we are all created, we are all endowed with the same, to borrow from Reverend James, same raw material that everybody else has, and we have it within us to create a life that is more than what we might see at that moment. And it was really telling because and impactful, because later on last night, we went to visit a homeless compound, which is really a parking lot where homeless people live. And every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, they have to gather their things and scatter so people can come and park their cars, etc., and take all of their belongings, take their pallets, take their makeshift homes, and then bring it all back and do the same every day. And we had an opportunity to walk in that space momentarily. It wasn't completely safe, so we weren't allowed to go but so far. But even in the midst of that, people were greeting us, saying hi, waving to us, and being friendly and open to us. And of course, that space is not without its challenges. And of course, I'm sure ideally nobody would want to live in that kind of situation. But to be able to be in the midst of this type of poverty, and again, it's only one part of Accra, because we pass some places in Accra that will rival Hollywood. But in this one section, to be in the midst of people who could give up, who could live in a state of despair, who could sort of just throw their hands up and just be lawless, and that wasn't the case. And of course, there's crime in Boston, there's crime everywhere, and there are challenges everywhere. But to be here in this part of the world and hear the same message that I hear in the United States about what it means to be a child of the Spirit, and what it means to be able to make more of your life than what you may think you can, and to know that you have it within you, you have what it takes to make a better way for yourself and for your family, was really powerful and eye-opening, and it brought some tears to my eyes and some chills to my arms. So that was our first day in Accra. Today we go and we're going to visit the orphanage again. We're going to do some painting, and I will be back to share with you whatever spiritual lessons I am bringing back from this experience, in the hopes that it will also move you to think about your life a little bit differently as well. So until the next video entry, this is Muadi signing off from Ghana. So You have the raw materials within you. I wish that I could have actually videotaped in the church while the sermon, while he was preaching, while he was delivering his message. But, you know, we didn't want to be disrespectful. So we were not able to capture that. Although the next time I'm in Ghana, I'm going to get that brother. I'm going to get him on video because he's one of the most powerful, profound speakers I've ever met. And he's living his values based on the work that he's doing. He's showing his productivity. He is showing his ability to use his raw materials to make a mighty, mighty difference in Ghana. And if he can do that in a country that is not as well resourced as the United States, what can you do? What are you not doing? What raw materials do you have within you that you are not putting to use, at least not to their best use? I encourage you to think about the excuses that you might be making now, the excuses that you might make tomorrow, that keep you from really living your life's full purpose. Bishop says that we have the raw materials within us to create exactly what it is that we want. And if he can successfully deliver that message and produce the results that he is producing in Ghana, again, a country that is still reeling from, you know, having its population ripped from its shores through slavery, and the colonialism and all of the other challenges that the African people in Ghana face. If he can deliver that message, and he can, through his example, show the truth of the message of knowing, if he can have that knowing that we have the raw materials, and he has produced evidence in his own life, in his own congregation, in his own neighborhood in Accra, Ghana, to support that philosophy, to support that ideology, to support that belief, those of us who live here in the United States of America, which is has a lot more resources, a lot more opportunities, a lot more things available than some of what our people in Ghana have access to, those of us with those resources have no excuse. We have no excuse. What raw materials can you bring to bear to create the life that you want? That's your question for this week. I look forward to seeing you and sharing another lesson that I learned from the bishop on my next episode. In the meantime, take good care of yourself, take good care of those around you, and do your best to bring your best to every situation you find yourself in. Until the next time, have a great week, have a great life. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.